Hi there. If I was to use one word to describe how I'm feeling about this weekend's football game, it would be conflicted. Conflicted, I say, because I sit before you torn by two wonderful cities and two wonderful teams. On the one hand, you've got the visitors, the Ottawa REDBLACKS, who are coming off their biggest win in franchise history. Of course, franchise history sounds much longer than it is. They've only been playing for 13 games. But on the other side, you've got the BC Lions, my favorite team since I was a little boy. A little cute boy with a big afro who was like, oh my God, Dad, I want to stay up and see the BC Lions play. For the second time this season, these two teams play against each other, and I don't think it's going to be anything like the first game. The first game, Travis Lulay was the quarterback from the BC Lions, coming back from a shoulder injury, and unfortunately towards the end of the game, he re-aggravated that shoulder injury, so he won't be playing. I say this game will be different because the last game saw the Lions coming out on top with a whopping score of 7-5. A game a lot of people criticized and said really sucked. But to this day, I stay adamant that that was probably one of the best games I've seen this year. I say it was one of the best games I've seen this year because anybody who says that Ottawa would have been able to hold BC to 7 points is full of it. And anybody who saw that game would understand that a lot of times it is strategy in football. And seeing two teams, especially a high-scoring team like BC being held to 7 points, it's strategy. It was a mental warfare between these two coaches in a game that I felt to be very entertaining. But enough with the past, let's look on to this weekend and why I'm feeling so conflicted. Who in the world do I cheer for? What I need, and I want somebody to help me with this, is to take a BC Lions jersey, take an Ottawa REDBLACKS jersey, cut them in half and put them together and put together a super jersey. A guy can dream, can he? Well, let's talk about this game. Would it surprise you to know that over the last 4 games, even though Ottawa is 2-11, that they are allowing an average of 20 points for their opposing teams? Would it surprise you if I told you that over that same 4-game span, the BC Lions are also allowing 20 points per game? It's interesting, isn't it? The real interesting aspect of this game as well is the fact that you're going to see Henry Burris on one side and Kevin Glenn on the other. Of course, Henry Burris, the award-winning quarterback for the Ottawa REDBLACKS, leading his team into town against Kevin Glenn. Now, Kevin Glenn was the first player chosen in the dispersal draft that the REDBLACKS took part in. But as soon as Henry Burris came to town, Kevin Glenn was gone. Kevin Glenn left and he went to BC. Now, how badly do you think Kevin Glenn wants to be able to show Ottawa, hey, you should have kept me? Now, in all fairness, BC has a lot more weapons than the Ottawa REDBLACKS do, but some of those weapons are injured. Andrew Harris won't be playing. I don't believe Stefan Logan will be playing. So that's a huge burden on their passing game. And here's the thing with Kevin Glenn. He leads the league in interceptions at 14. But on the flip side, hey, Ottawa had a great win against Winnipeg, a team that was last place in the West. Now they're going to be playing against the BC Lions. Now, BC hasn't been as dominant in BC plays as they've been in previous years, but it's still a pretty scary place to play. Or is it? The Toronto Argonauts got a win there. The Hamilton Tiger Cats got a win there. Is it at all possible that the Ottawa REDBLACKS at 2-11 could go into BC place and get a win? How about this? Ottawa is in an interesting position because with all due respect and in all reality, they're probably not going to make the playoffs this year. So that puts them in a position of spoiler. Is there anything more dangerous than playing a team with nothing to lose? A team that can gamble on 3rd and long? A team that can make a lot of trick plays on special teams because they just want to get out there and have some fun and play spoiler? BC cannot afford to lose any games at this point in the season, especially with Winnipeg hot on their heels. A few weeks ago, I would have looked before you and said, hey, a really good team in the West is going to miss out on the playoffs because of the crossover rule. But now, as the East is creeping up, we might only see 3 teams in the Western Division get into the playoffs, and then there might be 3 teams in the East. That is how crazy awesome the CFL is. You want a prediction for this week's game? Who do I think's going to win? Me. Because I'm going to be on my couch, watching this game on the big screen, and screaming my lungs out for every single play. Yeah, I'm riding the fence on this one. But I'll tell you, regardless of what happens, I'm looking forward to some good football this weekend. And a lot of people might think it's Kevin Glenn against Henry Burris. I don't think it's Kevin Glenn against Henry Burris because, quite frankly, offense doesn't play against offense. But what I think it's going to be is an extremely entertaining matchup. And a matchup a true CFL fan like myself can't wait to see. As always, you can reach me on Twitter at the appropriately named CFL_fan. You can reach me on my Facebook page at facebook.com/WhittyWhittier or the website at whittywhittier.com. I'm Keith Whittier. Thank you so much for checking out this blog, and that's my view from the 40.